Hello everyone, this is Maureen from High Point Reiki and Readings, and I am here again to tell you about your energy for the week ahead and then let you pick from one of my two wonderful objects to reveal deeper knowledge about what lies ahead in your week. So let's start out first with the energy of the coming week. So I feel like a lot of people out there are going to have this desire to clear out a bunch of things and make a bunch of sudden changes. You know, the whole end of the year, New Year's resolution kind of stuff. But the issue with this is if you're not careful, if you don't think through it carefully and very astutely, you might get rid of something you didn't want to get rid of. So just weigh each thing carefully and make sure you're getting rid of things you actually don't want or need in your life. So what they're telling me as a suggestion is to write everything down that you feel needs a change in your life, and then reflect on each thing either through meditation or just, just think about it when you're having your coffee in the morning before you go to work or whatever, eating breakfast, sitting in your car to gear yourself up to go into the workplace, whatever your situation is. Just weigh everything carefully. And if you're not 100% sure about cutting something out of your life, then don't cut it out. Not yet. It doesn't have to be by the 1st, I think is the real point they're making. It doesn't have to be a New Year's resolution. You can get rid of toxic things whenever you want to. It doesn't have to be by the end of the year. So just make sure you don't just do the whole swooping everything off the table and then realize you can't find that thing you actually did need, So that's what I pick up for the energy in the week ahead. And so now we're going to go on to the readings, and we have two wonderfully whimsical, both made by a friend of mine. She doesn't sell them or anything, so I'm not going to put her name out there just to keep her privacy. If she says she does want to be named, I'll put it in the comments later or something. But, so here's the two objects. The first section is going to be represented by this beautiful purple unicorn Christmas ornament that was made by hand by a friend of mine. And then the second pile is going to be this adorable squirrel, also made by hand and beautifully done. I must say that light isn't letting me show it in its entirety. There you go. So make your decision now, and we'll start with the purple unicorn pile, and I'll be right back with that information. And you're going to notice I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to draw from the big cards, the picture cards first, and then I am going to clarify with the hand-drawn cards. I tried it today for myself and I liked it a lot, so I'm going to try it for you guys. So hold on one moment while I get my cards. Alright everyone, we are back, and we are going to be reading for those of you who picked the purple unicorn ornament. Isn't it beautiful? The horn used to light up also, but the battery on that died. This is from like 2 years ago, so but anyway, let's get this fun started. And I'm gonna shuffle them now These cards are pretty big, as you may have noticed. And we're just gonna go for 3 cards. 3 of each, 3 of these, and 3 to clarify. So let's see. We'll cut it here, and then we'll see what comes up. Ready? We're finding out together. Ooh, I love that one. I'm gonna say that a lot, by the way, because maybe you're not supposed to toot your own horn, but these are really cute. So, anywho, let's go one at a time, shall we? So this one says, with companionship, proximity should equal how they help you grow. So as you can see, it's a picture of a flower with a little sleepy bee on the petal there. Yeah, this is just about, you know, in the time ahead, the week ahead, or perhaps longer. Actually, this is a pretty good thing to guide your life with. If people are toxic, if people are all take and no give, if people are all calling you with their problems but never available to help you with yours, things like that, they're probably not your people, you know? You probably are, I don't want to say suffering, but you're not having positive growth from that relationship. They're probably a strain on you, you know? And I just want to say that I don't think that's always intentional. You know, it's just the way the energy coincides with each other. If they feel a giving kind of energy, if they feel an open energy from you, and they're in a really self-aware state, let's say, they feel overwhelmed, they may not think to ask you about your stuff, or they may not think that, you know, especially if you always come with incredible wisdom and incredible advice. But that doesn't mean you have to keep giving them all of your time. That doesn't even mean you have to keep giving them some of your time. If they are very toxic people, you know, one good way to see is to just take a break from them. You know, just tell yourself, you know, for the next week, I'm just not gonna respond to their messages, or I'm not gonna respond to their phone calls or whatever, and then see how you feel at the end of that week. And if you feel worlds and worlds better from where you started, you got some heavy thinking to do, and possibly some boundaries to establish. And you have to be willing to establish boundaries against people like that, you know. So this card, it's a cat bird, that's what it is. It says, if shadows follow, the light is still finding you. Perspective is key. So you may feel like you're in a deep, dark place. You may feel like you're unappreciated. You may feel like you're being ignored or neglected. But the reason I wrote that haiku is because this bird's kind of in shadow, and then everything around it is bright and radiant and shiny, and, you know, it's just the bird is facing the wrong direction. If it's looking to have the light coming directly at it, it just needs to move its body a little, and then it will have it. And I'm not saying that's what the bird wanted, I'm just saying that was the inspiration, because the bird is somewhat in shadow in an otherwise very bright picture. It's possible he did it deliberately. But anyway, the point is, you may need a perspective shift. Even a minor one should help you get the perspective you need. Let's see what they want to say. They're saying music or some kind of art, and not creation of, but consumption of. So, if you're into photography, look up some beautiful photography, whatever type you like. If you're into art, look up some beautiful art. If you're into music, listen to music, and try to seek the things that will put you into the perspective you want. So if you're kind of bummed out and you're into music, find those songs that always put you in a good mood and pump you up and get you going again. And same with art, same with photography, same with all that stuff. Even if you just like reading books, try reading a more positive themed book. At least read a couple chapters, even if you can't handle the whole thing right now. Just try a couple chapters. And this actually goes really well with the card we just did. When you feel too small to accomplish any change, promise arises. This one comes up a lot. And all the cards weigh the same thing. So I don't really know why. I didn't even shuffle till they fell out this time. I just cut the deck and pulled the top 3 cards. So apparently this is a message that is really important and that a lot of people need right now. When you feel too small to accomplish any change, promise arises. So that's why I say it goes with this other card really well, because, a perspective shift. If you're feeling small and insignificant in some way, whether it be, personally or size, whatever the case, emotionally, you feel like you're not leaving your mark on the world, you just need a little perspective shift and get in the mood with some art that's gonna put you into that vibe. Because if you're into art, if you consume art on a regular basis, you already know what's gonna do that for you. So, put that song on, pull up that photograph, pull up that painting out of a book or on the internet even, whatever you need. So let's clarify now. First, we're going to clarify our little bumblebee card here. Let's see, this one I want to be more, how can we clarify the bumblebee card? There we go. Allow. This card says allow. So that means, okay, so what I'm getting here now is that someone is going to tell you exactly who they are very, very soon. Believe them. Take them at face value. Believe everything they tell you and act accordingly. And I feel like that's the whole message. I feel like you're going to understand what I mean. The universe, your guides, divine guidance is going to clue you into something. And now that you know what to do. Okay? So that was good. I like that. Okay, so now the perspective shift one. What are we going to clarify this one with? You can't see, I'm shuffling back here. I'm only going to shuffle for so long though, guys. That first one came out quick, didn't it? Oh, there we go. That's kind of funny because they totally were like, here's your card. Okay. Be royalty. I love this card because it's just about like, know how you deserve to be treated and expect that treatment, and if you don't get that treatment, just forgive them. They don't know who they're dealing with, obviously, or they wouldn't be dealing with you that way. That's the perspective shift you need. You need to empower yourself to say, you know what? I don't care what that person's saying. I don't care what that person is doing. I'm me and I'm going to be me. And if they don't like it, I don't really care because I'm happy. I'm doing what makes me happy, and that's all I should be doing. It is not your responsibility to please everybody in the world all of the time. Everyone knows the multiple sayings that pertain to that, and we still have more coming out every day. And they're all right and they're all wonderful. And it's, it's not always easy to have that perspective. I certainly don't have it 100% of the time. I doubt many people do. But try to get yourself into that mindset. Try to be like, you know what? I know who I am. I know what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. And if someone comes acting as if they don't know, just say that's okay. They don't know. But you're also allowed to walk away from them. You don't have to stand there and take any abuse or anything. But, okay, so I feel like another message coming through about that. And now that the card is gone, sorry. We'll just throw this up there again for a second. Part of the be royalty idea is like, you're a monarch from another place, and this person that you're dealing with doesn't know who you are and your importance. It's really a card about being aware of your importance and your value, even when the people surrounding you aren't aware of it. And that's all it is. They're not aware of it. It's not that you're not valuable. It's not that you're not important. They just don't know that yet. So forgive them. Be forgiving to them. Just realize, well, how would they know? They don't even know me. I'm full of wonderful, magical, fantastical things. This is so funny. Woo! Okay. So this card is called Call Forth a Song. This goes with the, I knew this card was going to come out. I did. When you feel too small to accomplish any change, promise arises. And then this card is Call Forth a Song. Now, one of my other hobbies is I used to do music, and I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just explaining why I would make a card like that. But also, music is a really valuable way for our guides to send us messages, So, I am going to call forth a song, but I would also like you to call forth a song. Just say, what song do I need to know that will guide me through the next week? And then whatever comes in, if you need to look up the lyrics, that's okay. You're not supposed to know maybe every single bit of the song. But anyway, let me get to it. Let's see. What song goes with this? All right. I'm not going to sing this one because I can't sing like this artist. And I hope you guys know this song. I love this song. I feel like it's super duper positive and inspirational. You might laugh when you hear the title, but my point stands. So there's a song by RuPaul called Sissy That Walk, and that is the song that came into my head. And there's a line in the song that says, "For if I fly or if I fall, least I can say I gave it all." And there's a lot of inspirational and sassy kind of quotes in it, so definitely check it out. I love it. It's a lot of fun, and that's the message that came through, and that's the end of the message. Just this is about the general theme to me is self-empowerment. Get in touch with the things that are fabulous and wonderful about yourself, and then be so totally rooted within those things that if someone comes at you in some kind of crazy way, you can say, excuse me. And you don't even have to say, you just, oh, it's okay. They don't know. They don't know that I'm amazing. They'll find out, but they don't know yet. So let's just forgive their ignorance, you know? Okay, so that's it for the purple unicorn. Dang it, I've lost it. Oh, here it is. Sorry. So for any of you who picked this one, that was your message. And now we are going to switch over to the adorable orange squirrel. Okay, so stay tuned. Alright, we are back, and everyone who picked the squirrel pile, this is your message for the coming week. So yeah, we start with the picture cards. So let's see what we get. I'm gonna shuffle it 3 times. 2 cards already came out, so we'll go ahead and take those. And split it here. And okay, so I really like all these cards. They're wonderful cards. Sorry, yeah, I know they're my cards, but we got 2 bunnies. How fun is that? There's only 2 bunnies in the entire deck, and we got them both. So if you like bunnies, that's a good sign. It may also indicate abundance, and it may also indicate anxiety, because if you've ever watched rabbits in nature, and rightfully so, they tend to be very anxious all the time. They're constantly looking around, constantly running away from things. They have to survive, but anyway, this particular bunny I think is definitely about abundance because he's kind of chubby. I think he's more closer. I think the leaves in the back indicate fall, so he's probably getting big for the winter. Probably his coat, maybe his tummy too. That's fine. It says, rest with all your might, but dream deeply as you do to know your next move. Part of that was inspired by the way bunnies will just take off running all of a sudden. So there you go. There's your chubby, cuddly bunny who is resting, but only for a moment. That does not mean your rest should only be for a moment. It simply means, that's kind of how I see bunnies based on what I've seen in nature. They're very skittish, some might say. The next one, this is a baby heron. I haven't fully figured out what kind. If you know, I would love to know as well. Let me know in the comments. I think I did discern because they have different eye colors. And I already forgot. So sorry about that. But this is a young heron, and it says, growing in this world demands openness to change and the courage to. Okay, and then some days can blind us with love and hope to renew what was always there. So that is a beautiful bunny enjoying the morning sun, and it just gives me the feeling of hope when I see that picture, so that's why I wrote the poem I wrote. So let's get our clarification cards here. This is the restful bunny. So what more do we need to know about this resting message? Let me read it one more time so I can talk about while I'm shuffling. Rest with all your might, but dream deeply as you do to know your next move. So a lot of times we don't get the rest we need, and once we do, clarity comes through. And it always catches us off guard. Because we're like, oh, if I would have given myself like 15 minutes a week ago, I could have already had this figured out, you know? It's just that, like, but you know, last week maybe wasn't time. So always keep that in mind. The timing is divine timing. So, maybe you weren't done with whatever struggle you were going through yet. All struggles have lessons. So the card that came up is kindness. So what I'm thinking is, not only does this relate to being kind to yourself, obviously with the rest message, because you should definitely rest. We all should, most assuredly. But also, it's when you're trying to think through something and you can't really figure out, like, how should I see this? How should I think about this? If you're at a complete loss, approach it from a perspective of kindness. That's what I think this is saying. Like, don't think about how you can win this situation. Think about a resolution that would be kind to everybody. Now, I'm not saying that then you go do that. I'm saying think if there is a resolution that would be kind to everybody, and then see if it's also fair to everybody. And if not, you know, then you've already tried, you've already made one plan. Now you're in the habit of making a plan for a resolution. You see what I mean? So even if you don't go with the absolute, like, kindness perspective, I think it's about widening your perspective to all of the people involved in the situation. And so, if you can do that and do it with kindness, even if you don't go with the most kind resolution, it's a good place to start, you know? And having that be, okay, so now I've got this plan, but that doesn't quite work for me. But now I see the elements in this plan that could make this resolution great. So, you know, and more balanced. Ooh, that isn't the next card. This is the next card. Okay, so it says, growing in this world demands openness to change and the courage to. And I went with that because it's like a little teenager heron. It's very cute. It's not quite a chick though, you know. It's growing and it's learning and it's exploring and even if you were a full-grown adult like me, you still learn things all the time. You still grow in ways you never expected to grow. Sometimes life demands it, you know, and you should be open to that, and you should have the bravery to do that. All right, are we going to get our clarifier? Please clarify this for us. Ah, there we go. Ah, see? Find the lesson. Okay. So as soon as this card came out, I knew exactly what they were talking about, so thank you. So the growth, this is about a growth that hasn't happened yet. This is about a growth that needs to happen. You need to look at something in your life and say, you know, I keep bumping up against this wall. I keep getting stopped in my tracks. I keep hitting a rut with this particular thing. So find the lesson. Why? Why do you keep running in circles? Why do you keep falling in ditches, you know? Like, and it's probably something about you. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to deal with the tough love, but you know, it's about an openness to change and the bravery to, you know. Like, it's not easy to say you've been wrong about something. It's not easy to figure out a different way to do things in order to, you know, like you've always embodied this one thing for a long, long time, and I'm seen as this kind of person, and what if that's what keeps running you into the wall? Then maybe you should consider a different perspective. And maybe it's one that goes against what you previously believed. But if the wisdom comes through and it's clear and you agree with it, don't refuse to change just because you might be embarrassed. That's silly. Why would you keep yourself in a rut? Chances are people are going to admire you if you come out and say, you know what, I was wrong about that, and I'm sorry. But I'm going to change, and I'm going to embody this perspective, or try to. I think that's pretty awesome when people do that. I can see the fear of humiliation or embarrassment and all that. We've all kind of been in a situation where that was the case. But think about it. Think about the previous time you were in a situation like that and you were like, you know what, I was wrong and I'm sorry. Didn't it get so much better? Wasn't it so much better? And things were resolved and people appreciated your honesty and your humility and all that, you know? And then I think this is what comes next. By holding this perspective, this limiting perspective, you haven't been able to fully be yourself and see all the beautiful things in life. And if you take that time to think and come to terms with what may need adjustment in your life, and then be open and honest and serious about changing it, new, beautiful, hopeful, loving things will enter into your life. I know, it's really, really hard. It's really hard, especially when it comes to, because you're going to get that hit of guilt, especially if you've hurt people in the process of this bad perspective you held. But, you know, think of the healing that comes after that. And think of, you know, having those people in your life and all the wonderful, beautiful things they can bring to you. I think that's worth a little embarrassment, maybe. And by the way, let's stop this whole perspective of it's embarrassing to admit when you're wrong. That should not be seen as embarrassing. That should not be seen as something bad. I want more people to do that, honestly. Okay, so dig for the root. I know why this came up, and I will tell you, and then we will conclude, because I feel like I've already talked your ear off. But dig for the root. Whatever comes up in relation to the last card, whatever comes up, and when you go to make the change and you go to put forth, you know, your bravest face and say, I was wrong, I'm sorry, I want us to be friends again, you know, I'm willing to try to change my perspective or work on changing my perspective, etc., etc. And I don't mean to dismiss it, I just don't want to take up too much more of your time. It's not enough to just come out and say an apology. It goes deeper than that. If you believed it for that long, and you were so dedicated to the perspective that you thought it an embarrassment to reverse on it, there's a lot of roots there you need to yank out too. Don't just cut the tree off and let the roots keep growing, because you're going to go back. Be serious about the change you're going to make. Be serious about the perspective you're going to adjust. And keep that humility. So in other words, if you say I was wrong, I'm sorry, and then you do something else that's in the same kind of energy, apologize for that too. And keep doing it until you get in, because it's so deeply rooted, it's so deeply ingrained that you need to make it a process. It can't just be a ripping off the Band-Aid moment. It has to be a digging for the root moment. many, many, many moments potentially. But what you get when everything is done is going to be so great and awesome that you should totally do it. And just, you know, it doesn't even matter what everyone else thinks. You have to live with yourself at the end of the day. I've had many people at my work ask me, what is the meaning of life? And I think one of my favorite responses to give is all the stuff that runs through your head before you go to sleep at night. And one person took that as a bad thing, like, oh, so all the times I embarrass myself and all that. And no, it's like, what is it that comes into your head? And why? Why is that what floods into your head when you go to bed? You know? Why is embarrassment where your mind goes? And how do you forgive yourself for that embarrassment? And how do you grow past that embarrassment? Or, you know, how do you laugh at it now? Whatever you need to lighten it in your perspective and make it less of a terrible thing that will keep you awake all night and more of a thing to learn from and grow from. And that's what I think what the second group was about, our squirrels. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you like this wisdom, and if I haven't bored you to tears or talked far too long, then like and subscribe, please. So you can catch the next one, where I will have 2 other interesting objects for you to choose from. And have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Okay.